Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Christian. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, good day. Wherever you are, whenever you're seeing this, I hope you are good. So guys, as always, thank you for your support. Thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in. Today, we're going to be talking about how to deal with being judged on your spiritual journey. Again, I think that in a lot of my videos, I've talked about a bunch of different topics but I think this is something specifically that was laid on my heart to bring to you guys, because I think a lot of us experience a lot of judgment about what we choose to practice, what we choose to believe, how we choose to get into things. A lot of people ask me, what do I do if my family doesn't support what I believe in? What do I do if this person doesn't support it, or if my friends don't? So I wanted to talk to you guys and just give you a little bit of my own experience, what I know about this, and even some biblical knowledge as well. So let's go ahead and get into it. If you want to book sessions with me, shop with me, work with me, connect with me, check down below in the description box for all the Instagrams, all the good things. We're currently reading All About Love by Bell Hooks in the Enlightened Reads book club. Very, very good book, 10 out of 10, and we're literally already just in chapter 1, and I'm telling you 10 out of 10, so you know it's good. So make sure you get into it. The podcast, Sacred Solidarity, online community, all of that, get into it down below in the description box. And also the tarot courses are always available, releasing sessions, y'all know, get into it. So let's go ahead and get into this topic, guys, how to deal with being judged when you are on your spiritual journey. So I think the first thing that's very important to remember is that your spiritual journey is your own, just like our own life is our own job choice is our own, who we choose to marry is our own business. You know, I think your spirituality and I think how you connect with God really is your own business. I think it's a personal thing, and I don't think it's something that we should have to share with people. I don't think it's something that people have to know about us. It's just not, you know, especially the intimate parts of what we practice. I think if you love God, of course, you're going to want to let people know that you love God. Just like you guys know I love God, and you know I love Jesus. And I've talked here and there about some things that God has done for me in my experience with, you know, tapping into different energies. But I haven't really gotten too in depth. You know, I don't go on live when I'm praying. I don't take y'all to church with me on live. I don't read my Bible on live. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with doing content like that. But I am able to showcase what I believe while also keeping some things for myself. And I think that you guys can do the same, even on a different level, because this is what I do for work. I'm in spirit work. Now, if you are not in spirit work, of course, people need to see God in what you're doing, but you don't have to put everybody in your business. You don't have to tell everybody what you practice, what you believe in, what you follow. You just don't have to do that. If it comes up in conversation, of course, go into it. If you feel like you can help someone with a testimony, get into it. If someone asks you a question, get into it. But a lot of times, you know, if you're living with your parents and your parents have never showed any type of interest in anything other than what they've been taught and what they believe in, if they're pretty judgmental already, you know, you can't really expect someone that's judgmental to be open to something that is foreign to them. That's the whole point of them being judgmental, and within good reason, because most people that are judgmental in terms of religion, now some people are just ignorant, but most people are judgmental out of a place of fear. You know, they have a fear that if they do the things that you're talking about doing, they're going to hell. So they don't want to mess with this, they don't want to mess with that, they don't want to even look into anything else, no matter what, because they feel like this is wrong. And we all know people that are very devout believers in whatever they choose to believe. And if someone thinks something is wrong, then they're going to think it's wrong. So it's not necessarily an internal thing about you being wrong or you being the problem or you being the demon, even though sometimes people may say that to you, but don't believe it. It's not necessarily that. It's just about the core of what this person's belief system is. You know, a lot of people don't research religion for themselves. A lot of people don't even have a personal relationship with God. You know, a lot of people just get what they get on Sunday and that be it. Or they get what they get at temple. They get what they get when their grandmother prays for them. Everybody got a praying grandmother. What about you? What you gonna do when your grandmother in the ground, unless your grandmother already in the ground? Grandma be dead and gone, and people be like, I'm still surviving on my grandmother's prayers. If you don't let your grandmother rest in peace and you go and get yourself together so you can pray for yourself, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people aren't able to do that. And I think when people are looking for something and they find someone that's feeding them that, whether it's a preacher online or a preacher in real life or some type of spiritual leader, if you don't have your own mind, if you don't have your own, I guess if you just don't have your own mind, I guess that's where it ends. If you don't have your own mind, you're not going to be open to anything other than what you're being fed. This is how cults happen. You know, cults and organized religion are very similar in the sense that people come into these places needing something, and they get what they need there, and they're going to defend that fiercely. Now, you may get to a point where you recognize my way isn't going to work for everybody. Everybody has their own path, and hopefully whatever you believe in preaches love and preaches acceptance and preaches that none of us are perfect, and preaches that as imperfect beings we should love each other and support each other and advise each other where we see fit if it makes sense. Because people always say the Bible said let the righteous judge. What makes you think you righteous judging somebody in a TikTok comment or an Instagram comment? That's trifling. Show me in the Bible where it says that's righteous. Let me know. I don't know what they be talking about, but thankfully I know the Lord for myself, so nobody can make me feel any type of way about anything I do ever. I've had people say all kind of things to me, but I just don't care. Because I'm going to block you and your comments will never be seen again. Loser, and then you'll never be able to communicate here, period. I had somebody just yesterday that was saying that, like, of course you couldn't hear God. You have a tongue ring and your shirt is open. I'm hot. I can't help that I'm hot. And everybody with a tongue ring don't look like me. I can't help that I look like me. Everybody that with their shirt open don't look like me. I can't help that I look like me. I'm not apologizing for being hot. God made me hot, so it is what it is, I don't pay any attention to that. I just block those people because you're nuts. But you should feel like people are nuts if people come at you inappropriately about what you believe and what you choose to have faith in, because that is not their business. It's just not. And we don't have to comment on anything. And this is something else too. People are so focused on seeming like they're righteous and seeming like they're right. Sometimes people be trolling, they be playing, they don't even be serious, but people are so focused in seeming like they're right. And I think people do this because they want cool points with God. But in reality, if you were back around, you would have been one of the people crucifying Jesus. Y'all would have crucified Jesus. That's what y'all would have did. You think people liked that Jesus was hanging out with prostitutes? You think that people liked that Jesus was going through in the market and knocking people's stuff over, saying y'all not about to be scamming people? Y'all think that people like that? No. People didn't like what Jesus was doing. That's why they crucified him and strung him up on the cross. Okay? So I always think to myself, whenever I'm feeling judged or whenever somebody acts like they don't understand what I'm doing, I just say, hey, they crucified Jesus. They didn't make Jesus king and let him live a long life. They crucified that man in his early 30s. He was crucified. Okay? So I think that it's normal for people to be ignorant for a noble cause. I think we've experienced throughout history people being ignorant for noble causes, people being ignorant and not really knowing what it is that they stand for. Because if you really read the Bible, you'll recognize how it's supposed to be interpreted. When I read the Bible, and I know I read it the right way, so now I think everybody has a way for them, but I know I read a Bible that allows me to accept people and love others and connect others. Maybe somebody else reads the Bible with the purpose of being a tyrant. You can use a book for whatever you want to use it for. You can use religious teachings for whatever you want to use it for, if that's what you decide. If you step into Christianity with the intent of judging other people and condemning other people and saying, oh, you wrong, you wrong, you wrong. If you step into spirituality with that mindset, if you step into any belief system with that mindset, that's what you're going to be absorbing from the things that you're reading. You're going to be absorbing that you're better than everybody, that everybody needs to be doing what you're doing, that people need to get on your level, instead of the reality of it that says that we're all broken, that we're all messed up, and that you don't know who God will use, so you better be nice to everybody. That's what I took from it. Okay, we're all messed up. We're all trying to live a perfect life, or a Christ-filled life, rather. And it's like, do you think that Jesus would have been online being nasty to people, judging people and condemning them and being gross when they was just out sinning and busting it open a couple weekends prior? I don't like that. I think that we've seen this wave of people are talking about new age religion. People need to talk about these new age religious people, not the spirituality stuff, not the new age spirituality, not the crystals and the metaphysics. What about everybody that just came to Jesus through a religious, or everybody that just came to God because everybody don't believe in Jesus? What about everybody that became religious in the last 4 years? They have lost their minds. They are culty religious folk, not everybody. But a lot of people will be like, oh yeah, I was doing drugs. I was sucking and fucking everybody. I was doing these terrible things. I was doing this. I was on a road to sin. I was communicating with demons every night. But I've been baptized for 6 months. And now you going to hell because you got a tongue ring. That's what we're seeing a lot of online, So I say all that to say, the people that are judging you need love. People that are judging you are sick in the head. People that are judging you are sick in the head, I was raised in a Christian background. You guys know this. I've talked about my story a bunch of different times. And whenever I told mom about what I was doing, The one thing that my mom told me that really stuck out to me was to never let anyone make me change my beliefs, to always stay grounded in who I know God to be for me. And I think that's the best type of advice you can give anybody. I don't know if my mom necessarily understands what I do. You know, she has told me that there's other people in my family that have gifts. I don't know if she necessarily gets it. I don't know if anybody really gets it. But I think that it's so important to let God use you how God is supposed to use you. And I just talked about in a video, you don't know how God is going to use you. You know, like I started reading tarot, I'm guaranteed to help everybody see that it's not all evil, to help everybody see that there is a healthy way to do this, to enhance your connection with God, to enhance your intuition, that these things are just tools, that the power isn't in these things. The people that are judging you are ignorant. The people that are judging you think that the crystal is magic. Do people think that people who practice spiritual things, do people think that people are that stupid? Maybe we look crazy to everybody. I literally saw somebody, I remember one time y'all jumped on a girl so bad in my comments on Instagram. Shout out to all the pixies on my Instagram that don't play, because I definitely don't. But I had somebody that I did like a sound bowl video years ago. Probably not years ago, maybe a year ago, I did a video playing a sound bowl, and somebody was like, this seems like witchcraft, you should try prayer. I was like, girl, how you didn't know that I prayed and asked God what my audience needed? I literally remember this read, because I never reply to anybody online. But I was like, how do you not know that I prayed and asked God what my audience needed, and I was led to use my sound bowls? How did you not know that? You know, God will use so many different things to give us a download, to give us a breakthrough. Like, I know a lot of people can see a YouTube video for something that ain't got nothing to do with God, and it'll literally bring them to God. And not to say that sound bowls don't have nothing to do with God, but it doesn't have to be come to God to bring you to God. You know, you don't have to say come to God with the cross on in the Bible, and you don't have to do all that to get people to come to God. You know, you can use meditation to do that. You can use some stretching or an exercise practice to do that. You can use showing kindness to others. You can use being honest about your experiences and not letting people feel alone. Like, bringing people to God, healing people, showing people God's love and light does not have to look like you being a preacher the same way that everybody's been taught. You know, me playing my sound bowl could be prayer for me. But you talk about I need prayer, or I should try prayer. I am very, very, very well versed in any type of biblical or religious knowledge, because that's just one of my hyperfixations. I took a class on and I learned a lot about it, but also because I know my own personal walk. So someone may see me and be like, that girl don't know nothing about the Bible. That's your problem. Those are your issues. Because I guarantee you, if I showed you a picture of you, or if someone says, do you think you look like someone that knows about the Bible? You would say, absolutely. You haven't even dealt with your ego yet, baby. You don't even need to be talking to me. You know, it's nothing that you can say to me if you haven't even dealt with your ego. If your ego hasn't stopped you, because I've seen some questionable things on social media of people doing stuff and saying stuff, religious speaking, spiritual speaking. I don't comment under there and say, what you doing? This is wrong. You're going to hell. I just say, look, not my circus, not my monkeys, not my business. I pray that everybody gets to God how they need to. I pray that God does what God is supposed to do in people's lives, because I don't know what God is supposed to do in people's lives. People always say, oh, God don't want us using that no more. That's from the old, you know, that's way back in the day. Like, people were talking about like using crystals, like the crystals that were on like the breastplate, you know, like in the Bible, different crystals, different incense, you know, they brought baby Jesus, frankincense and myrrh, you know, which are really holy, healing, beautiful, sacred incense to these people. So they were saying stuff like, oh, that's back in the day. God don't want us doing stuff right. Did God tell you that? Did God come to you and say, disregard everything in the Bible? That's from back in the day. All I want you to do right now to show the world my love is trash talk online, and trash talk your children, and trash talk your friends that you don't understand. That doesn't make any sense. Does it make sense to you? Because it doesn't make sense to me. That's like claiming to be a doctor, but being comfortable misdiagnosing people. Being comfortable just speaking over people without knowing who they are, where they come from, because it's a chance that someone that's judging you isn't about to really sit down and learn about what you think. Because this is also what I feel. I think that you should also be able to be in a space where, you know, maybe people can ask you questions. People may be intrigued about what you do or how you practice. People might say, hey, how do you do this? And you say you do this. Like, I have a lot of people that say you read cards, but you also say you're a Christian. How does that work? You know, and I let everybody know, this is my journey. This is what I've been called to do. This is how I feel it's going to be in the future. This is what it is. Some people are going to accept that and receive it, and some people are not. I need y'all to literally just stop worrying about the people that's judging you, because I guarantee you they're doing that to you because they have yet to turn the mirror on themselves. I can't say anything about what people do because that's not my business. I don't know what God told you to do. Now, I do know that right is right and wrong is wrong. And I will let people know, hey, if you think you're going to be doing tarot, trying to connect with God, but you haven't done this, and this, then there's a chance that you may not be doing what you think you're doing. You know, I also talk about the reality of connecting with spiritual work and the truth of it and the purpose of it and the point of it. I don't tell everybody, connect with your ancestors, use crystals, use this, because everything isn't for everybody. I want to give you guys education. So if God tells you, hey, maybe you should try this or maybe you should try this, you don't feel like, oh, that isn't for me, or oh, that's not making sense, or oh, that's evil. You give yourself a chance to figure out, well, what is this? Is this something that resonates with my energy? Is this something that resonates with who I want to be and where I want to go? You know, I think that's the most important thing, because you don't know where God is going to lead you. And I always tell people, two options when you feel like you're in a combative situation or you feel like you're in a space where someone's asking you something about what you believe or what you practice. I always say, ask them, do you want to know more about it? Ask them if they want to know more about it. Like, why are you asking me this? Do you want to know more about it? Because some people will just ask you just because they're ready to, you know, attack you. They'll just be ready to poke holes in your story. So do you want to know more about what I'm doing? Do you want to know more about what I believe in? Do you want to know more about what brought me to this point? Or are you just looking to judge me and tell me that I'm wrong? Because you could tell certain people, Jesus came to me in my room and told me to do this. And they'll be like, no, that was a demon. You were talking to a demon. Jesus will never reveal himself to you. You've been talking to demons. How do you know that? Of course, there's a right and a wrong way to do everything. But I think in terms of any kind of religious or spiritual conversation, it should always be about education. It should never be about judgment, because we are not the ones to judge. And I think that we are, I believe it says somewhere in the Bible, judge lest you be judged. Like, if you're going to judge somebody, then please believe that you're going to be judged with the exact same harshness. So if you don't want somebody looking at you and not giving you an opportunity to explain yourself or share your opinion or share your perspective, if you just want somebody to attack you, then go out and attack people. But if you attack people, you can't expect for God to listen to you. How do you expect God to forgive you when you make a mistake? How do you expect God to hear you out when you don't even want to hear anybody else and you just want to judge everybody else and be crazy with everybody else? These are the same people that crucified Jesus, y'all. These are the same people that crucified Jesus. These are the same people that can't pray because they're too scared. These are the same people that can't pray in their own home because they're too scared. They're going to invoke the devil. They can only pray at church, and they only at church 2 Sundays out the month. Every other day they on Zoom. And when they're on Zoom, they still scared to pray. And their Wi-Fi bad when they on the Zoom. These are the people that's judging you. These are the people that's judging you. It's not the people that know God. It's not the people that know God and the people that are like this with God. Because the people that are like this with God do not live a life of judgment. If anything, they live a life of education, they live a life of guidance, they live a life of teaching you, they live a life of uplifting you, and they will let you know when you're doing something wrong. You know, I have had people in my life that I've told, or maybe that I felt like, you got all that spiritual knowledge and you ain't using none of it. So you don't even need to be, what? You're not even using any of it. You literally haven't done anything. Like, some people claim to be spiritual, claim to be religious, but they literally never call on God. They let their life be in shambles. They know all the stuff, but they can't ever use it for themselves. You know, like, there's a lot of people that know a lot of the things, but they can't ever apply any of the things, you know? So I think that in certain situations like that, especially when people are close to you and you know that they're serious about moving with God and elevating with God, you can let them know, hey, I know you know all of these tools. Why haven't you been using them? Do you need me to remind you? Hey, did you do this today? Hey, did you do this today? Hey, did you do this today? Because if you do, I will. But you're navigating throughout life like you don't have the tools, and you have them, you know? Judgment also, I don't think, should ever be like stoning people, because we don't have that anymore. And if we are stoning people, then they got some other people that need to be stoned. Not no religious criminals and spiritual criminals. They got other people that need to be stoned if we bring that back. But we can't judge people from a space of hate. You know, if you're coming at people with hate or just ready to prove them wrong or ready to shut them down, that's not a space where you're really trying to see somebody grow. Like, as Christians, as religious people, you know, because I think most religions have this. I know Muslims definitely do it. Like, if they see you doing something, they're supposed to tell you and keep you in line. Those things are supposed to be done out of love. Those things are supposed to be done out of genuine care for somebody. Those things are supposed to be done out of genuine support for somebody's religious journey and spiritual journey. Because some people are young, maybe some people aren't aware, maybe some people are whatever. Maybe some people aren't even as serious about, you know, their religious journey as you are. Everybody isn't a God-fearing person. There's a lot of people on this earth that really aren't super religious, you know? So there's a chance that a lot of people are judging people and people aren't even really pressed about it. You're more pressed than they are. And I don't think we should be more pressed about someone healing or salvation than they are, because you can't save nobody, especially by judgment. You know, somebody has to want to be saved. And I also think that when you have certain people in your life that are trying to be better, they're going to welcome critique. They're going to welcome you helping them or guiding them. They're going to welcome you telling them, hey, make sure you pray before you do this. I know you want to do this, but make sure you pray before this. Or make sure you ask God before you do this. You know, like, people sometimes want that. Sometimes people don't. So I think that there is a place to kind of comfort someone in a friendly way and let them know what they should be doing in a friendly way and connect with them in a friendly, nice, open, welcoming way. But there's also a way to condemn somebody. There's also a way to make somebody feel small, make them feel wrong, make them feel like they don't know nothing. I guarantee you, if you ask those judgmental people enough questions, they're going to run out of answers. And when I say enough questions, I mean more than 2 or 3 questions. You know, or even if you ask them, well, what about this? Or well, what about this? Or well, what about this? You know, because we all sin. You know, sin is something that as humans, we just experience. We all experience sin. Most of us are born in sin. Like, God expects us to fall short. God expects us to make mistakes. But I think as humans, God also expects us to lean on each other and support each other through those things and lead each other through to wisdom and to guidance, through way of love, the way of leading by example as well. You know, not through a way of being judgmental and being hateful towards people. You know, I think that we should find that balance, but I think that we should also recognize, because you also don't want to be in space where you just never correct anybody and you just see people acting crazy. So here's what I'll say. If anybody's judging you or being nasty to you, ask yourself one thing. If they're being nasty to you, then they don't even know God. They're talking to somebody else, because God would never send you on a wild goose chase barking at somebody online or barking at somebody without even knowing them or trying to understand them or just loving them as a human being. God would never send you to attack somebody for no reason. Seriously. Even when we go in to attack the devil, we're not attacking the devil, acting like the devil. We're not doing that. God expects us to move in a different way, baby. God expects you to move in a different way, okay? So recognize when somebody's moving with God and when they're not. Because I can tell when someone's asking me about what I do from a genuine loving place, and when somebody's asking me what I do because they've already decided in their mind that it's wrong and they don't want to hear anything about it and they just trying to catch me in something, you know? Ask yourself that. How is this person connecting to you? One. After you know how this person's connecting to you or speaking with you, then, you know, ask them. Is there a reason that you're, you know, asking me about this? Are you interested in knowing a little bit more? Do you want to know more about what I do? Like, what exactly are you trying to understand what this does for me? You know, are you trying to understand how I was led to this? You know, what exactly are you looking for? So you can have a real conversation if that's really what they want to have. If they don't want to have a real conversation, then you'll know it very, very early on by what they say, you know, because again, they'll just start judging. Also, you have to, you know, hopefully surround yourself with people that are serious about their connection with God. Surround yourself with people that are serious about making sure that you're doing the right thing and making sure they're holding you accountable as you are them. If you really want accountability partners in God, in Christ, and whatever your beliefs are, then you can step into those relationships, but they have to be mutually beneficial. You guys have to have, you know, shared interest and definitely shared levels of help that you need from each other as well. So that's something to keep in mind too. I think that there is a place, of course, for growing together and helping each other. I think that even what I do here could be healthy judgment, letting you know if you're stressing, that's not the right way to go about it. You go about it this way. You know, have people like that in your own life. Have people like that that are that serious about where they want to go in God, so you guys can connect with each other. But do not let people that are spiritually ill make you feel a way about what you're doing. Think about all those people that told you that he was wrong. Think about all those people that were watching him drag him through town, probably throwing stuff at him, talking about him nasty, making him drink vinegar, stringing him up on a cross between criminals like he was not the Son of God. Think about that. And then ask yourself, am I wrong for being judged? Is there something wrong with me? Think about if Jesus would have did that. Think about if Jesus would have said, you know what, girl? I clearly am not who I say I am. These people are giving me hell. Clearly I'm not who I say I am. You can't ever forget who God says you are, because, hello, that's the voice that matters. That's the voice that made you. And a lot of our journeys in this life is to accept who God wants us to be, because we all have those crosses to bear. But we have to step into our purpose to, you know, get what we need to get out of this life and do what we need to do in this life as well. So Yes, guys, that is a conversation about judgment, being judged on your journey, and how to handle those things. I hope that this makes you feel more comfortable about what you're doing. Get educated on what you believe and why you believe it, so you know for a fact in your bones what you're doing. It's always easy for somebody to make you not really feel so sure about what you believe or what you're doing when you don't even believe it yourself all the way. So make sure you're doing what you need to just remind yourself of what you believe and why. But yes, I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed this spiel, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you for being here as always. Bye, guys. Bless.